Commodity Wrap. I'm Tony St. James, and welcome to Wednesday, and really kind of the middle of the week. Wednesday is always the middle of the week, right? But when you have a short trading week, we're halfway through the trading week now with 2 more days to go. And one of my comments earlier today is, will we see a turnaround Tuesday on a Wednesday? And I was reminded that used to be called a Whippy Wednesday. Well, we got it. A Whippy Wednesday for sure. The corn market started higher and then sold off. We saw soybeans do the same thing with some double-digit losses in one of the contracts. Soy meal hung on for a higher close, and soy oil continues to move in the red. Wheat market mixed in trade. Cotton market, again, lower there, and that's kind of how we wrapped up the row crop. So let's make some out of this. Brian Hoops, President, Midwest Market Solutions. Brian, I guess a gentle reminder that even though it was a sell-off, we're still in higher territory than we were month and a half ago.
Yeah, that's really, really true, and a good way to look at it. You have to keep things in perspective. You look at a month ago prices, we've rallied substantially, and I think that's why we are attracting a lot of selling interest. So producers in the U.S. that have cash sales to make it, awesome time to be making some sales. The producers in Brazil that are harvesting are looking at this rise in prices along with weaker Brazilian real, as this is really a huge opportunity for them to step up their sales. They have a lot of storage anyway. They end up taking things off the combine, shipping it, sending it to port, and making sales pretty quickly. So this is really a boon to that farmer that is combining and selling prices at substantially higher than what they were a month ago. You think about that for U.S. farmers, a dollar rally right ahead of their harvest. They would love that, and they would probably be making a lot of sales. And the same thing's happening in South America, particularly in Brazil.
Wheat market. Again, we've watched kind of a rally in the wheat market over the last week, actually over the last month, but especially over the last week. Maybe some concerns over damage due to cold and just a lack of snow, because all the snow seemed to go right along the Gulf of America coast, right?
Right, Gulf of America. Yeah, not a lot of snow out in the plains. I have a hard time really buying into that we're going to see a lot of damage to the crop in the month of January. Now, if this was April or May and we had bitterly cold temperatures and key growing points were above the ground and getting froze off, completely different story. Right now, it always gets cold in the middle of January. For whatever reason, 2 weeks in the middle of January is the coldest of the year. Whether we have insulation or not, it doesn't really hurt that wheat that's out in the field. It's basically a grass at this point, grass in your yard. We don't have any snow cover. It's not hurting our grass. And same thing for wheat. Just don't have any of the key reproductive units above ground or exposed yet that could get frozen off. So it's very unlikely you're going to have much, if any, significant damage to the winter wheat crop.
Plus, we have to be reminded sometimes that wheat is the cat of all the row crops. It's got at least 9 lives in there, and can die off and then come right back, and die off and come right back. Speaking of coming right back, I want to make sure we have plenty of time to talk about the livestock market because, we've got some history that's been made in the livestock market. So hang around. We'll come back and talk cattle and hogs with Brian Hoops. Commodity Wrap continues after this. This is Commodity Wrap. On a Wednesday, Tony St. James joined by Brian Hoops. Brian is President, Midwest Market Solutions. Brian, I don't really know how to say much more about this other than the fact we hit $200 in the cattle market. Live cattle $200.15 a hundredweight on the February live cattle contract. That was the high for the session, before settling at $200 and a nickel. We're at record territory, aren't we?
We absolutely are. All-time record live and feeder cattle. I was talking with a client earlier who I think about a year ago this time he was looking at hedging feeder cattle for August at around $200, and now we're talking about maybe feeder cattle going to $300. And what a change, what a year, a difference in a year makes. Those were good prices last year, 200 and 200 above, and now we're well above that, and just nobody knows where this thing's going to stop. Maybe 300, maybe who knows. But boy, we're sharply higher once again. We came into the week discount in both the live cattle and feeder cattle, discount to the cash markets, discount to the feeder cattle index. We narrowed a lot of that spread today, and those feeder cattle, some of those back months, especially March, really soared higher. So you have a combination of really strong technicals, obviously, very, very strong fundamentals with very strong cash markets. Sale barns are just on fire again this week, and when you have a combination of strong fundamentals, strong technicals, you attract a lot of speculative buying and maybe even some commercial type buying that's driving prices. So you really have that perfect storm that's going on right now where everything is lining up from a technical standpoint, fundamental standpoint, and trying to hedge in this market is very difficult because you're essentially trying to pick a top and you can get ran over quickly. Speculating, it's really tough to try and step in front of this train right now because you better be ready for some margin calls because you do not know how high is going to be this year.
I'm glad you brought that in because we don't want to be the ones who missed out on the rally. I guess that's just the human element there, the fear of missing out. How do you help somebody who's trying to get in this market or is in this market to do so without getting run over? I mean, are there some tools that producers can use to kind of manage the risk?
Well, I think, the best answer is you can use the options market to try and minimize your risk. You can get into a marketplace here, limited exposure. You buy some put options. You have a limited amount of money that you're going to lose. It's you're buying insurance. Basically, you're insuring at a certain price level that we can't go below it. With that being said, it gives you kind of a peace of mind that we're not going to fall out of bed, and you won't have any additional costs. So that's the most basic way to answer that question. Use that tool. If you want to get a little more creative, you can you can buy a put, you can sell a put, you can buy a put, sell a call, buy another call. There's a lot of different things you can use, a lot of different tools, and you can combine them. I think that's why they're called options, is because it gives you a lot of flexibility to kind of design what you want to come out of this market. So a lot of different ways rather than just coming in straight futures sale or futures hedging, a lot of different ways to approach that.
Let's move over to the energy markets, and we've seen really pressure in both West Texas Intermediate, WTI, and RBOB, or gasoline. Crude down nearly 4% over the past week. RBOB gasoline down 5%. Nat gas really has been down as well, though rebound on Wednesday. Overall, though, when you step back and look at where we were just 12 months ago, WTI is pretty close to where we were 12 months ago, 1%, but nat gas has appreciated nearly 73%. Well, what did you see in the energies on Wednesday?
Boy, you're looking at that nat gas market. It's on fire today. It's called Widowmaker for a reason. If you get on the wrong side of that thing, it can really, really run against you. It had a 5.5% loss, I think, on Tuesday. It's up 5.2% as we speak here. Big moves coming in this market, and hard to stay with that thing because it just can really, really move against you or for you in a real aggressive manner. the seasonals for nat gas actually turn a little bit softer here as we kind of come out of these winter cold slumps and temperatures begin to warm. But the seasonals are opposite of crude oil. By Monday, you start to see an improvement in values for crude oil. A lot of times the refiners we need to replenish their supply as spring approaches, driving conditions improve, and those refiners rebuild their inventories for the vacation season, the driving season during the summer. So we usually get a little bit of a bounce in the crude oil market starting early part of next week.
With just about a minute left, the precious metals, copper, and looking at not just copper but gold. Gold higher on the session, copper and silver in the red. Any thoughts there?
Well, yeah, look, the dollar is one thing that we're watching real closely. It's bouncing off the technical support today, so that usually means gold and silver will come under some selling pressure. There's a lot of talk about President Trump enacting tariffs against Canada, against Mexico, possibly against China, and a lot of times that will bring some inflation to different sections of different industries based on what is being tariffed. That's the common thought is that we have tariffs, it increases our values, increases inflation. That's not also necessarily true. When he was first in office, we didn't really see those inflation pressures, even though we had tariffs in place. So I think you're just kind of looking at choppy trade here until the market really gets a comfortable level that are we going to have tariffs, and if we do, how will that impact inflation and price values?
Brian, if we want to talk one-on-one, where do we find you?
Yeah, you can reach me at my direct number, which is 417-501-5132. And you can also go online, find a list of our offices around the Midwest at our website, which is MidwestMarketSolutions.com.
Brian Hoops, Midwest Market Solutions on Commodity Wrap.